What's up, losers? Today I'm back with some more r/niceguys mischief. Taking a look at a couple of weird dudes' online posts and private message exchanges, and trying to figure out what on earth they were thinking. This is episode 23 in the Nice Guys series, and I've assembled a real dream team for this one. So without further introduction, let's meet our players.
I'm starting to think women aren't humans. I have been observing them for a while, and I noticed they're always hanging out in their own group of females. When one of them says their opinion, usually the prettiest one, whether it be that Billie Eilish is the best singer, or Chad's hot and Brad's ugly, all the other ones agree, and start to have this opinion too, like in an alien species, where the king ordered the weaker individuals to do something, and they have to obey. They're equally sadistically, and like to reject, and bully, shy, ugly men. They're also all born manipulators and liars. They constantly lead lonely and desperate guys on, so they can get favors and gifts. And when a handsome guy appears, she discards them. I also don't think they have emotions, fears, dreams, or even think rationally. The only thing in their minds is mating with the richest and best-looking men, and taking advantage of them until they're old and sick, so they can leave and get with a better one. Someone else noticed this.
Well, if anyone else did notice that, then they should have some serious concerns about their mental state. Because anyone who genuinely thinks all of this stuff, and doesn't realize that it's just their misogyny talking, must have a brain that's fried crispier than bacon, haha. Like, women are not mindless drones who agree on everything, and allow the prettiest among them to make all of the decisions. This is largely just a tired stereotype. There might be a small grain of truth in it, when applied to teenage girls who are first finding their place socially. But even for this narrow subset of the population, it is an exaggerated and overly simplistic generalization, which does little more than punch down at a group of people who have things hard enough already. And as for fully mature, self-confident, adult women, forget about it. Women are no more likely to unthinkingly follow the crowd than men are. And if you think otherwise, then that says more about you and your issues than it does about women. Equally, women are not, as the post declares, sadistic manipulators who get a kick out of rejecting and bullying ugly men. The reality is that women are often forced to reject men when they do not reciprocate their feelings. But few women could be said to relish this task, and for the vast majority of women, it's more burdensome and anxiety-inducing than anything else, especially when the men in question have given them reason to doubt their willingness to take no for an answer. I get that rejection sucks. And I get that repeated rejection sucks extra bad. But for the life of me, I can't understand these men who think women reject guys just for fun. If they're actually interested in you, they're not going to reject you. And if they aren't interested in you, then they are completely within their rights to do so. It's not a personal attack on you. It's just an indication that they're looking for something else. So rather than making a big thing out of it, and assuming malicious intent where there is none, you could try just growing up a little, and looking elsewhere for someone who is, actually attracted to you. Just a thought. Oh, and as for the whole, women are scheming gold diggers and social climbers speech, give it a rest. Sure, some women might enter into relationships for financial reasons, or otherwise take advantage of men. But this is not in any way representative of women as a group. And to attack all women, because of the actions of a few, is nothing more than lazy misogyny. So the less said about that, the better. All in all, I think that this poster could benefit from actually getting to know some women. rather than just creepily observing them from a distance. Because it's pretty clear that he doesn't have any idea what he's talking about. And his attempt to understand women's behavior as seen in this post, is nothing short of painful to watch.
Am I the asshole for staring down this guy talking to my crush? I work at a warehouse. I have had a huge crush on the auditing girl forever. I have shown my interest countless times. But I just don't know how to advance it more. I think she is receptive to me, though, and I definitely have a shot. Anyways, I was assigned to load things up near her station. I started talking to her about a lot of things. And I felt that our conversations were going great. After a while, another guy was assigned to the same area I was to load. He was small, and looked like a nerd. Anyways, they started talking a lot. Almost like 15 minutes straight. It looked like they were flirting by their body language. I finally had enough and stared him down. Keep in mind I am 6'1", very built, and I did Muay Thai for 2 years. So I'm the last person this guy wants a problem with. As I positioned myself in an aggressive stance, staring at him, basically saying for him to back off with my body language. He did eventually, and walked away from her. After 20 minutes of working silently, I tried to talk to her again. And she wasn't responsive at all to me. It was so weird. It just pisses me off. I don't know what to do. Thoughts on what happened?
What the actual frick? How could this guy not understand what happened? He literally just described it for all of us. He deliberately physically intimidated another guy, which is pretty damn inappropriate in its own right. And the reason that he did it was so that the other guy would leave his crush alone, despite the fact that the two of them are not in a relationship. And he has absolutely no grounds upon which to feel personally aggrieved whatsoever. I mean honestly, the idea that you can just take ownership of a woman because you like her, and that she should, I don't know, gratefully accept your domineering presence, is utterly ludicrous, and genuinely infuriating. It's unclear whether the woman in this post actually liked the other guy, or whether she was just being friendly in talking to him, but it really doesn't matter one way or another. You don't get to decide who a woman can and can't talk to, based on your one-sided infatuation with her. Frankly, even if OP and the woman were in a relationship, he would still be out of line for acting as he did. Because being in a relationship does not mean that you aren't allowed to socialize with other people. But as things stand, he doesn't even have that flimsy defense to fall back on. Because once again I repeat, they are not in a relationship. Unfreaking believable. Also, can we talk about how absolutely pathetic this guy is in his attempts to play up his own masculinity and undermine that of the other dude? Like, even if we take his portrayal of himself as a tall, built Muay Thai fighter with whom none would dare trifle, and of his opponent as a short, nerdy weakling. At face value, the other guy clearly found more success in charming OP's crush than he did. Because if OP had had any success in wooing her at all, he presumably wouldn't have been reduced to acting like a total weirdo and trying to scare off all other potential suitors, so that she didn't have the chance to pick someone else. Like, that doesn't exactly scream strong, secure masculinity to me, but what would I know, haha. I guess my final comment is, I don't know what this guy means by saying that he's shown interest countless times, but it sounds to me like he hasn't actually expressed his feelings clearly, and has instead tried to drop hints here and there. It seems that he's well and truly blown any opportunity he might ever have had with this particular woman. So I don't think there's any point renewing his efforts towards her. But in future, I would advise against this indirect approach, and urge him to just be upfront about the way he feels. This will mean that he gets rejected more often, sure, but if he's really the man's man that he seems to think he is, he should be able to take this rejection on the chin, and get on with his life. Because trust me when I say, a man who has the balls to put himself out there, and the maturity to cope with rejection, is a hell of a lot more appealing than an oversized boy, who would rather jealously defend his crush, like a prized toy, than share his honest feelings and recognize hers, whatever these feelings might be.
You got a friend in me, Miranda. I know you don't wanna admit it, but you got mad love for me, as I do you.
Lol, shut up. Thank you for being so sweet.
You know I'm right, really. Just as an experiment, say, I love you, Jacob, and tell me how it makes you feel. Really. Try it, please.
No, I'm sorry. I'm really not comfortable with that. I'm sorry. I'm totally overwhelmed by this at the moment. I'm gonna take a bit of time to process. I'm sorry, Jake.
Don't be sorry. That's a psychological operation tendency that I learned in the Corps. Really. Don't be sorry. And no time is needed. It's okay. Trust me. I expected nothing less or more. Do you get it? I can explain. You put an individual in a position of high stress or relief. You offer them a trigger word or phrase. If they use it, then they're comfortable. If they don't, then they're not comfortable. It's simple phys-ops. It's okay. Civilians usually don't get it.
Cool. Well, that doesn't make any sense to me, and I don't really appreciate it. Have a good night. That sounds like a super fancy excuse for saying something you hopefully figured out wasn't appropriate. But sure, psyops. And I'm just some civilian. I do not understand you. I'm extremely frustrated right now. Good night. Just leave the generator over here when you get the chance. I need some time to try to understand what on earth your goals are here.
I'm sorry if I upset you. That wasn't my proactive. I was trying to make you an experience and reaction called self-provocative of the frontal cortex. Please don't be mad.
No, you weren't. You wanted me to tell you I loved you. I'm not an idiot, Jake. Good lord. Good night.
Yikes. That was agonizing. It's hard to imagine what this guy was thinking at any stage of this whole unfortunate exchange. Not only was his initial gambit of trying to bamboozle her into saying she loved him extremely obvious and poorly thought out, but his subsequent attempt to play it off was somehow even more embarrassing. Because it could not be more obvious that he has absolutely no idea what he's talking about. With all of his weird-ass psycho-military babble, he might as well be pulling random words out of a hat and sticking them randomly next to each other to make sentences. It's laughable, and that's not even accounting for the fact that playing psychological experiments on your friends is a pretty damn weird thing to be doing in the first place. All in all, his efforts to cover his tracks and somehow save face only compound his utter shame and failure, to the point where I don't know how he will ever be able to face this woman again, even if she does decide to give him another chance. So I guess the theme of today really is, guys, just be straight up about how you feel. For Christ's sake, it's not going to work out all the time, or even most of the time, and it might be a little awkward when you get shot down. But there is no way in hell that just shooting your shot like a normal person, and taking the L again like a normal person, could be any more humiliating than this sheet. I mean, self-provocative of the frontal cortex. Not my proactive phys-ops. Jesus Christ. It doesn't get any worse than that. Well, that's all I've got for you today. I hope you enjoyed becoming acquainted with these charming fellows, and that you got something out of my commentary. What do you think? Are women humans? Or some kind of alien species? Is it acceptable to physically intimidate anyone who talks to your crush? Was Jake really engaging in high-level psyops? Or was he just pathetically trying to extract an unfelt I love you from a friend? Which of these guys would you be most comfortable running into in a dark alley? Let me know in the comments. As always, don't forget to like and subscribe, or I'll infiltrate your mind and make you experience a reaction called self-provocative of the frontal cortex. Just kidding, haha. Anyway, catch you later.